There are places the world forgets, and there are people who only truly find themselves in the places no one else wants to stay. Kai used to live in a city where everything moved too fast. The alarm clock at 6 every morning. Endless emails. The cold white lights of the office slowly erased the memory of what sunsets looked like. Every day felt exactly the same. Wake up, work, eat in a hurry, exhaust yourself, sleep, then repeat. Until one day, Kai received news that the grandfather who raised him had passed away. The old man left behind a rusty key and a handwritten letter. People do not die because they are poor. They die because they forget why they exist. Below the message was a set of coordinates in the middle of the ocean. Kai quit his job, not because he was brave, but because he was too tired to continue living like a machine. After nearly 2 days drifting across the sea, he finally found the place mentioned in the letter. An abandoned marine research station. It stood alone on a rocky island surrounded by salty winds and waves crashing endlessly against rusted steel walls. Broken windows, hallways covered in dried seaweed, dark research rooms that looked as though no human had entered for years. The nearby fishermen said the station had once been the largest ocean research facility in the southern waters. But after a violent storm many years ago, the entire project was abandoned. The scientists left. No one ever returned. Kai stepped into the main control room. In the center of the room, an old yellow lamp still flickered weakly from a fading solar battery. He couldn't explain why, but for the first time in years, his mind felt quiet. That first night on the island, Kai barely slept. The wind whistling through the steel corridors sounded like time itself sighing. He sat alone on the rooftop, staring at the endless dark ocean stretching beyond the horizon. Back in the city, silence used to terrify him. But here, silence felt like a friend. The next morning, Kai began cleaning the station. He dragged rusted metal sheets outside, repaired electrical wires, wiped years of salt from shattered windows. Some days his hands bled from sharp steel edges. But strangely, he had never felt more alive. Every evening, Kai sat on the old dock to watch the sunset, and slowly he realized the ocean never rushed. The waves never competed. The wind never tried to prove anything. Even the sun disappeared quietly without needing applause. Only humans forced themselves to run endlessly just to feel worthy. One afternoon, Kai discovered an old journal hidden inside the storage room. It belonged to the former head scientist of the station. One sentence kept him silent for hours. We spend our entire lives building great things, yet forget to learn how to sit still and feel alive. From that moment on, Kai changed the way he restored the station. He didn't want to turn it into a luxury resort. He wanted it to become a place where people could finally breathe. He rebuilt the sea-facing rooms, turned the whale observation chamber into a small tea lounge, converted the old biology lab into a quiet library. No giant screens, no traffic noise, no clocks pushing people forward, only waves, wind, and enough silence for people to hear their own thoughts again. Months passed. A few travelers discovered the island through photos online. They came out of curiosity, but stayed longer than they expected. One middle-aged man, once the CEO of a large company, spent 3 days sitting silently by the shore. Before leaving, he told Kai, "I spent 20 years making money so I could finally rest. But somewhere along the way, I forgot how to rest." A young woman cried the first time she saw the stars above the island. She said the city lights back home were so bright that people had forgotten the sky even existed. Little by little, Kai understood something important. What people lack most is not money, but connection with themselves. Some nights, violent storms shook the island. Massive waves slammed against the station's foundation while thunder rolled across the sea. Kai would sit by the window with a cup of hot tea, quietly watching the ocean rage. And he realized life was just like the sea. No one can control the storms. The only thing we can learn is how to keep balance while everything shakes around us. People often believe happiness exists somewhere far ahead. A bigger house, more money, more admiration. But the ocean taught Kai something different. Sometimes happiness is simply a warm meal after a difficult day, a place to return to, and a mind no longer at war with itself. 1 year later, the abandoned research station had transformed into a small retreat known as Silent Tide. Even so, Kai kept many of the old scars untouched. The salt-stained walls, the rusted radar tower, and the control room where he spent his very first lonely night. Because he understood something important. Scars are not things to hide. They remind us of what we survived. One evening, a guest asked Kai, "Do you ever regret leaving your old life behind?" Kai stared at the ocean for a long moment before smiling softly. "Back then, I had everything people called success. But every morning I woke up without knowing why I was alive. Now, even if all I hear each day is the sound of waves, I finally know that I am truly living." On the final night of summer, Kai sat alone on the rooftop once again. The ocean wind moved gently through his hair. Far away, the lights of passing ships flickered across the darkness. He thought about the person he used to be, someone always running, always afraid of falling behind, always believing that human value had to be measured by achievement. But the ocean had taught him the most important lesson of all. The people who move faster are not always the ones who live better. Sometimes, growing up simply means learning how to slow down, so you can finally see life clearly.